Guts and Glory MMA podcast.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Liam O'Griffin here, and this is the Guts and Glory MMA podcast. And with me, as always, Mr. Paul O.D.
How are things on today's show? We're going to talk about the fallout of UFC 262 and some words exchanged between Charles Oliveira and Conor McGregor.
All right, guys, there you go. Not a lot to be getting on with, but anyway, let's be getting on.
I want to fight with Chuck. Chuck.
I think he just blew his wad there.
Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck.
So we're a bit light on the news.
Yeah, there hasn't much happened since Friday, but I suppose with everything now, with the fallout in the lightweight division, there's kind of a lot to touch on there.
Yeah.
But if anyone does want to come in with any comments and anyone wants us to talk about anything, feel free to comment in and we will, of course, get to it.
Yep, absolutely. So comments will be live as always, guys. So we'll be sticking them up on screen just like this. So we're flooded as we speak with zero comments. But look, we'll get into it as the time goes by anyway. Yeah. So what is the... you said that there was a back and forth between Mr. McGregor and Mr. Oliveira.
Yeah, so I found it a bit strange because both Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier reached out with messages of congratulations to Charles Oliveira on picking up the belt. And Conor's message went something along the lines of, congratulations to Charles on becoming the 11th lightweight champion in UFC history. And then said, but we'll see who the number 12 is. And of course he has that affinity to number 12 being from Dublin 12 himself. Yeah. And the whiskey named Proper 12. And Charles Oliveira came back. Charles Oliveira sent a few messages back to him, being that he needs to worry about Dustin first and don't be focusing on him, and that he called him out a few times previous to this. And
I'm fucking up your camera here.
That is far too close anyway. That he called him out a few times previous to this, and that he's all talk and focus on the match he has in front of him, and if he gets past Dustin, he might give him a shot. This kind of carry on.
Yeah, well, that's reasonable enough, I suppose, isn't it?
I know,
it's
yeah.
kind of fight and talk.
I know, but it was all even the coverage.
He ignored Dustin as well. That was strange.
But even the coverage in the media, it was like Dustin sends message of congratulations to Charles, and something to Chandler, condolences or whatever to Chandler, and then the coverage from the Conor side was, oh, Conor has a pop at Charles Oliveira, and they go back and forth. There's no, nice message from Conor, which I know he says we'll see who number 12 is, but that's his fucking job to do that.
Yeah, of course.
He still congratulated him on being champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found it a bit strange, but sure, look, if he's involved, it's going to be strange.
So are we straight onto the card, do you reckon?
Yep. Phenomenal performance in the main event. And it kind of went to what, like, before the fight on Friday, I was talking about Charles Oliveira and that it worried me that there was a bit of quit in him, and we'd seen it before. Mm-hmm. And for a brief moment towards the end of that first round, he kind of accepted taking strikes, and it looked like he checked out. He mentally checked out of that fight. Mm-hmm. He went down on his knees and reached for a takedown first, but then didn't really do much, and then rolled to his back. The commentary team said he pulled guard. How the fuck is rolling to your back, flatten your back, pulling guard?
Well, once you get your legs between you and your partner, technically that's open guard. So, I mean, it's not wrong, but it isn't jumping guard or pulling guard in the strict sense of the word. Yeah. But like when I was looking at him, when he did drop to his knees, he was doing that whole kind of head dodging thing. I don't know who did that before. Was that Benson Henderson did it in quite a lot in Bellator actually.
Yeah.
Recently, of course, he is on a bit of a skid, but he kind of ducks down and does that whole kind of like bobbing and weaving, just so as not to get knocked out.
The problem with that is when you're not looking at fists coming and you weave and bob, if one connects, you're going out.
Yeah.
Because you could bob straight onto a hand coming at you. It's just that's the very, very, very last line of defense when you get in that position. And even at that, when he kind of rolled to his back, it looked very submissive. Yeah. No, amazing comeback in the second round.
Yeah,
but it was just...
That's what Kevin O'Sullivan says in the comments as well. He said, good recovery by Charlie Olives to get the strap there.
Yeah.
And Mr. Ben Doucette. Good day, gents.
How are things, Ben? Are you good?
So we have a new champ. You were saying in the preview show on Friday that for the sake of the division, Charles Oliveira should be the next champion.
Yeah.
But we both had picked Chandler. He damn near did it. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't. He got caught with that left hook in the second round, and that was the beginning of the end. But up until that point, he was certainly winning the fight anyway.
I'll tell you, after you watched it and you said that he made 2 fundamental mistakes with Charles Oliveira in giving up his back when he went to stand up.
Yep.
And then when he was on his back, throwing himself back.
Yeah. That wasn't going to get him out of the back control.
It tightened, if anything, yeah.
Yeah.
But what impressed me and what made me think to that point, I was like, there's no way Chandler gets beaten in this fight, was I thought Charles Oliveira's only route to victory in this was if he could get in a dominant position in the grappling exchanges. And the fact that Chandler got out of that situation, I was like, ooh, this is going to be a rough night for Charles Oliveira, because Charles Oliveira, if he gets your back, it's more or less a done deal, especially that body lock was tight.
Yeah.
And for Chandler to get out of it, I was very, very impressed, but didn't go the way I thought.
Wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to the co-main event. Is that the end for Tony Ferguson?
He's going to get another couple of fights, but at a competitive level, at the very top of the division, I think it's the end for Tony Ferguson.
Well, he drops out of the top 10 or down as far as 9 anyway at this stage.
Yeah, I imagine
with this loss.
I imagine he grips onto somewhere in the top 10 after this. But I don't think that does him any favours, because he's got another one of these killers from 11 to 15 that have been clamouring for a shot against one of these guys for almost 3 years now. There's been like a logjam at the top with 5 or 6 guys holding up those spots, and they all want to go at one of them. So Tony Ferguson's going to be the guy now that has to rattle through all of them and probably take another couple of losses before, I imagine, he'd be cut. I can't see Tony getting cut after 3 losses in a row.
Well, Ben says that Tony is 100% cooked, and that's from a chef. He literally didn't defend anything on the ground. He just accepted position and knew he was going to lose. Yeah. I don't think he knew he was going to lose. I think I honestly don't think that he believes that injuries affect him. I mean, he was dead to rights inside the honey hole with that inverted heel hook, and that's the dangerous heel hook. That's the one that shreds your knee, and just didn't bother defending. As you said, he was just lay straight back and just went and then Beneil Dariush was the one that let go, because he said this dude's just not going to tap. But like, there's a fight with I think it's in the Fight to Win promotion, and it is Craig Jones versus Vinny Magalhaes, same position.
Yeah.
And he just snaps his shin with that exact same thing.
Shin bone.
Yeah, like you just so it's like a twist fracture of the shin. Now Magalhaes fought on. We'll come to that in a minute. These fucking Brazilians, right? They're cut from different cloth, but he fought on, and he got in another heel hook on the same leg, and then eventually said, right, like, this is not happening. So, like, he couldn't actually put his knee on the ground to push off that foot and get back in. It was broken. Like, he had a wet noodle attached to his knee. That's what he had. But anyway, this is what could very likely have happened to Tony Ferguson, but Beneil Dariush didn't apply the braking pressure for whatever reason, you know.
And it touches on it there. Ben said, asks, side note, is Dariush the nicest cage fighter alive?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Like, he didn't want to tear his knee off. He felt a pop and he left go.
Yep.
He said in the post-fight he felt a pop. That's why he left go, because he said he wasn't going to tap. I mean, if you've got that killer instinct, you're tearing his leg until he taps.
Well, if that was Craig Jones, his leg would be
obliterated
next to Joe Rogan. Like, they'd be using that as a microphone next week.
Yeah. But look, it's. I touched on Charles Oliveira winning the belt was good for the lightweight division. I think Dariush beating Ferguson is even better for the lightweight division. And the reason I say that, look, and people are going to think I'm hating on Tony Ferguson, I'm not. But I have been saying for a few years that the elite guys in any discipline are going to beat Tony Ferguson. The reason I say that it's good for the division is Dariush now sees himself finally breaking into that top 6, top 5, top 6. And it seemed like that was an undoable task in the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
More guys will follow that now because you have Chandler's coming off a loss and you've Gaethje are the only two that are unmatched. The biggest mistake the promotion could make right now
is match those two.
Because
one of them gets funded back in.
And
both of them should have to earn their way back in.
Of course. And what it does is it leaves Dariush out in the cold again, but at number 6 this time.
Yeah.
So it's just blocking it up a little further up the division and cutting Tony out. One of those guys should face Dariush next. That's, for me, that's sensible matchmaking. And the other guy faces maybe the loser of Conor and Dustin. And then there's another guy can come up and challenge a loser at some point going forward. But it's certainly good for the division. There's new blood coming in. And we've known for how long, like you look through that division, Islam Makhachev, they're talking, could be a champion. Gregor Gillespie at some point could be a champion. There's Joe Selecki way outside, but looking promising. There's an abundance of guys coming through lightweight that have looked impressive. And I mean, Dariush on a 6-fight win streak going into this fight and not a sniff of a top caliber opponent until this. And then took Tony to lose 2 in a row before he could get it. So hopefully it changes things in lightweight.
So Greg O'Sullivan saying, surely this is Dominic Reyes in the lightweight division. Couple of losses and we'll get a lower ranked fight, but not cut yet.
Yeah.
Bendu said, fucking Jacare Souza is literally the Terminator, by the way, but you'll get to that later, I bet. You bet, right?
Yeah,
we will certainly get to that.
That's harrowing shit. There was a couple of instances last night that kind of little stomach churning, but we'll get to them. But I do want to talk about the fallout of the lightweight division. Obviously, I touched on Dariush's positioning now, but we now have a champion. We now have a clear maybe 1 to 4. The only big fight matched at the moment, Conor and Dustin. You imagine they're next. What do you do outside of that in that division?
So you're talking about who's Beneil Dariush going to get next is what you're really asking, I suppose, is it?
And who's next for Tony Ferguson? Like, where do you see him? Do you see him competing lower down the top 15, way lower down the top 15?
Yeah, I'd say somewhere between 10 and 15. He needs a build-me-up fight if he's going to make a comeback.
But did they give him a Hooker or a Felder who have been hanging around the 9 and 10 spot for how long?
Yeah, that's true.
And they've had losses and kind of not had the burden of having to face a lower ranked fighter either. So I think that would be another mistake. I think he needs to fight someone lower down. And even Felder and Hooker need to fight someone lower down at this point. Open up the division a little bit.
Yeah, they do have to bring those guys up, like
100%.
You know, either bring them up or let these guys re-earn their spot in the top 10, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to have the list out in front of me here, but
you have RDA hanging around there as well. I think the sensible one is RDA and Beneil Dariush against either Gaethje or Chandler. That's 2 guys you could possibly breed into the top 5. And if they don't make it, they don't make it. But they've had their opportunity at it. Yeah. But Charles Oliveira against either Dustin or Conor, he's going to be a tough fight for him. And we've seen now that even though he could have got finished, if there was maybe another minute or 30 seconds in that first round, he could have got finished. But we've seen he can take strikes.
Yeah, I think I see a clear path to the title for Conor now.
Yeah.
I think Conor would have had him out of there like in the first round.
That's the difference, the killer instinct, yeah. But
given the same opportunity, that is. I mean, of course, you know.
But my argument then with Conor would be, I know his defensive jiu-jitsu is very good, but with Charles Oliveira, if he'd have got his back, you're in a very tricky spot there. It's a tough one. Like, I just think he's a horrible matchup for either of those guys.
Yeah.
I think, based on skill level, I think Dustin and Conor are number 1 and 2 in the division. But I think stylistic matchup, if they'd have dreamt up an opponent to fight for the belt, Charles probably would have been last pick.
Actually, Oliveira's distance control was very Conor McGregor-esque, even. Not even ish, but esque.
And the commentary team, they had a couple of blunders last night, but they weren't terrible last night.
Yeah.
Had a couple of good points in that there was no wasted strikes from Charles Oliveira when he did come forward and when he did strike. Everything was straight down the middle. Everything was with precision, and 90% of it landed.
Mr. Bendu says calling for Tony versus Felder.
See, again, I hate that fight because you're allowing those two guys to keep around that top 10 and not defend their number. You can't expect to hold on to a top 10 position, even though he's probably going to, off the back of 3 losses. At the end of the day, I don't think that makes any sense. When you be different in somewhere like the middleweight division or the light heavyweight division where they're struggling for contenders outside the top 15. But at lightweight, they've how many guys? They've 90 guys signed at lightweight, more.
Yeah, and it's stacked.
And there's 40 of them could make the rankings with the right fights. So, yeah, I think Tony fights someone, either an Islam Makhachev, a Drew Dober, who's that guy that wears the camo shorts? Bryce Mitchell.
Bryce Mitchell, yeah.
Or is he 45?
I think, no, you're right. He's 45. Yeah, he fought Bragatona.
Yeah. Sorry. But there's a few guys around there lightweight that just outside the top 15. I think any one of them could be a good matchup for Tony next. For sure.
Below that, we had Rogerio Bontorin and Matt Schnell. And this was... Okay, you had picked this as one of your fights for the night, or a fight of the night contender, did you?
No, I had...
you had...
Barbosa and Burgos as my fight of the night contender. I liked this fight on paper, but... And I said it was very closely matched, but I don't think Schnell really got going.
No, he looked off.
Yeah.
And I think the commentary team did allude to that at some point, that he just looked like he was having a bad day. Had a fight with his girlfriend before the pay-per-view started or something. There was something just not quite right there. Like,
but he mentioned before the fight that his tactic was to not let Bontorin have his big moments, because he knew Bontorin was that kind of guy that will, kind of like Yoel Romero when he was at his best, that he would just blitz and have moments in fights, and they were winning moments. And especially, he said, with the weight cut, and that he struggled to make 35, even though he's a 25 naturally. And I think he actually missed weight for 35. But he was saying that the smart thing to do would be to keep pressure on him and not allow him to have those moments. But he seemed like he was hesitant. He was on the outside for a lot of it. And every time Bontorin came forward, he took a back step. He didn't really... When did he get in close, and when they were exchanging, Schnell landed a few times, but he allowed Bontorin to fight his own fight after clearly outlining beforehand that the route to victory was to not let him do that. It was very strange. Yeah, he just looked off.
So Kevin says, yes, his distance control with posting hands and use of teep and threatening with knees was a McGregor move, but he also looked to find an angle left to try and counter Chandler as he launched in. Yeah, this is back to Oliveira. Yeah. Only problem, he looked tentative when he did it. Okay. I'm not sure I saw the tentativeness. Yeah.
In the first round, he did a bit, but that was after he got cracked early.
Yeah, he did drop to a knee, like, definitely. Yeah.
He sat him down a little bit early, and then...
he shot for the double leg, got guillotined, and Yeah, no, I'm like I suppose the thing is that Oliveira has kind of almost developed this distance control over his last 6 or 8 fights. He wasn't really known as the greatest striker before that, but certainly his footwork has improved. His posting, as Kevin was talking about there, his distance control. Like, there's a couple of times where he just literally just slipped out of range of Chandler's wild hooks, and again, just hand under hand. Jesus Christ, I'm having a stroke. Hand either on
Shane
the lead
Burgos.
shoulder. I know how Shane Burgos felt now. I'm going to just fall backwards here and fall off my chair now. In 5, 4, 3. But yeah, he either had his hand on the lead shoulder of Chandler or on the forehead of Chandler, and just literally just like, he was like the bully in the schoolyard with the small kid just kind of saying, no, you can't hit me today.
Well, he did that to an extent, but then what was the fight was 6.5 minutes. He got cracked bad 3-4 times. I mean, it's great to say you've got good distance control for 60% of the fight, and the 40% you got really badly damaged.
That is a point.
I think when they were at range, it suited Oliveira, and his distance control going forward is fantastic, and off the first strike. But the minute Chandler came forward with more than one strike and put pressure on the back foot, his distance control wasn't great. For me, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Let's go on to a different fight. I know the Brantaran and the Chanel fight was a decent fight, but it wasn't that exciting.
No.
Caitlin Chukagian and Vivian Araujo.
Yeah, close enough.
Araujo.
Yeah, similar to the Chanel and Bontaran fight. It was a kickboxing fight over 15 minutes.
And it wasn't a great one at that either.
No.
Caitlin Chukagian holds on to her gatekeeper position. Araujo not cracking through to the top 5.
It was a debatable decision.
Yeah.
What I will say though is I could have seen it go either way, 29-28, but one of the judges gave it 30-27 to Chukagian. I mean, she 100% lost the first round. If you're a judge and you scored that first round to Chukagian, you should immediately be cut by the... And there was a few instances of that last night where 30-27s were given. One 30-27 was given to Mike Grundy in the prelims. We'll get to that fight. That was a complete shit show. But I imagine it was the same judge gave the 30-27 to Chukagian. And very... Like, personally, I had it scored 29-28 for Araujo. I think she got a little bit hard done by, but it's one of those, the second round was so close that you can't really argue after the fact. It goes to the judges. It's going to go one way or the other. Yeah,
Ben agrees. He said a bummer for the division that Chukagian won. I honestly had Vivian.
Yeah. And I just want to ask if anyone's in the comments there, that first round, tell me I'm not on my own here, that there's no way that should have been scored to Chukagian. Absolutely no way.
The fight below that was a cracker. Edson Barbosa, Shane Burgos. This was, as I was accusing you earlier of another fight. This was the one that you said was going to be the sleeper on the card, or well, it wasn't really a sleeper. It was pretty obvious it was going to be a great fight. But this was going to be your fight at night, and it probably was fight at night.
It won fight at night. But absolutely phenomenal. Look, we know Burgos. Burgos loves to box and will stand in front of anyone. But when you're letting and he tried at stages, he was very good at pressure. And we know Barbosa struggles with guys that are in his face for the full 15. And the problem was he was in his face for half of the 15. But the rest of it, he literally stayed at Barbosa's kicking range.
Yeah.
Barbosa did switch up the kicks as well with some nasty calf kicks. And I mean, we were talking about it on Friday. Would a guy like that ever switch to the calf given everything that's going on? I mean, historically, his leg kicks are horrible anyway, but he's always just above the knee and that real hammer just above the knee. But he just started absolutely destroying his calf. I have no idea how Shane Burgos was still standing after the first round.
Well, I have a theory. I think it was the tattoo. I think the tattoo is made of very strong ink, and Kevin O'Sullivan would be able to back me up here. There are certain inks that you could put into the skin that act like a shield.
Kevin, any chance before my next fight I can get my whole face tattooed with that same ink? He'd only take pleasure in tattooing my face as well, telling me it's the right ink.
He'll give you the full Mike Tyson look and all.
Yeah. But no, I mean, that fight was phenomenal, start to finish, and Burgos never backed down. The finish, though, what the fuck?
Very strange. It was like something from The Exorcist or something. All he was short was just to get into the crab and start walking backwards up the cage wall or something. Yeah, it was delayed reaction, very, very strange.
But that's worrying. Like
it's lucky that wasn't like the first fight that went out on Fox or something like that to the public. You know, that's the kind of thing now that detractors from the sport of MMA would love to see.
Yeah,
this would be something that they could harp on about for years. Look at this guy having a stroke in the middle of the cage after being punched with a right hand over the top of his left shoulder or something like that. You know, it's like, oh.
But have you ever seen something like that before?
No, no.
Not in the cage anyway. There's a lot of guys would suffer symptoms like that after a fight. Well, not a lot. That's the wrong way of saying it. But there are cases of people suffering symptoms like that after a fight. but 5 seconds, 10 seconds after getting cracked is very, very strange.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Yeah, it was almost like when you get hit, you get that kind of dizziness, and it kind of subsides, and they're almost like he got cracked, he got dizzy, it subsided, but then it came back, and he's like, "Oh shit!" and then he fell over, and there was a bit of panic in his eyes as well. I'd say he probably, this was probably the first time he felt like that himself as well. So he got a bit of a fright himself, and that may have been the look in his eyes as well. His eyes were open.
But on the last step back,
they rolled. Yeah,
he was unconscious. Like that wasn't I'm worried. You see guys slowly fall back and they kind of drift out to a turtling up position. He was out cold when his head hit the mat.
Yeah, weird. Okay, we have Larkin Gainey. Was it a side effect of damage taken in the Josh Emmett fight? I don't think so.
It's too long ago, I would say anyway. I don't know.
I mean, certainly he's going to have brain damage that will last him for the rest of his life. Now, not necessarily just from this fight, but over the course of his career, he does fight hard fights, and there's nothing for free. Like, you're paying that back at some point. He's literally just renting his brain now for the next few years, and it's going to come due at some point.
Yeah.
Whether you can pinpoint it to a specific fight, it's very rare that you can do that, because a lot of times the damage is done in sparring between fights. Is if somebody fights like that, they generally are hard sparrers as well. You know, they just love a war. It's in his personality. It's in his nature. So I'm not sure you can pinpoint it to the Josh Emmett fight, but certainly this fight and the Josh Emmett fight don't help his chances later in life.
But what would you do now as a coach with him? I mean, you're surely not letting him spar for 6 months.
Yeah, you could adjust the sparring. I mean, like at this stage, like the damage is the vast majority of the damage is done already. So, and he's not. I mean, he's an adult as well, so he's going to have to make up his own mind as to whether he's happy enough to kind of take this damage as well. You can advise and you can say, right, look, this is not a great idea. But guys like that will be cock of the walk and full of bravado, full of ego. Yeah. He's young. He feels invincible. It's going to be very hard to convince a guy like that. He might not even believe in CTE.
Yeah,
you know, you have fighters like that as well. Oh, that's not been proven.
How many guys get dropped and say I wasn't hurt?
Yeah,
you know, it's one of those, and but like,
no, I might be mischaracterizing his beliefs in science here. No, he actually might be a very genuinely conscientious guy, and maybe just gotten 2 rough fights. But it is a thing. Fighters tend to be too tough for their own good.
But like, so USADA or not USADA, sorry, whatever commission is doing it would give him a medical suspension for, let's say, 6 months is kind of the norm for a KO. But we know that generally you get a 6 month suspension from them that you're not allowed to compete.
Yeah.
But most of those guys are in the gym a week later.
Yeah.
And they're sparring.
Yeah.
Is there a responsibility, what I'm asking, of the gym? And I know, like you say, he's an adult, that he's going to make his own fucking decisions. But seeing something like that and seeing a guy go out cold, that's not necessarily from a strike. That's from repeated damage. He drifted into unconsciousness. Surely there's some responsibility on them to say, listen, even if it's a month, take a month off and heal up. We don't like seeing that shit.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, like, a month would even be short.
Yeah.
I imagine it depends on I don't know his coach. It depends on the coach. I mean, if he was in, we say, what's the Shoot the Box Academy, he'd be in sparring tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Yeah.
You know, it really depends on the individual coach and whether they believe in that stuff or not. You know, but I mean, if he was here, I wouldn't have him sparring. I'd certainly tell him take a month off, take a few months off. Take definitely a month off training at this stage. You know that they're 2 heavy fights. You know. But it's really down to the individual gym, you know. Kevin says, ink made from Charlie and Kevlar microfibers and definitely Polynesian warrior face tattoo. That would help you your next fight, Paul.
You can book me in there for early September. Should give me coverage, yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah, I'd say so. Brian from Into Thin Air is in the building. Wow. Not sure what that wow is probably to do with the facial tattoo, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Ben asking, can he fly in and get a mustache tattoo? Are you getting sick of actually growing it, Ben? Would you like to shave it off and it still be there? That would actually be a bit of a life hack, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I've a buddy that got a mustache tattoo, but it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Did he actually grow a mustache over the top to cover it over afterwards?
So this is awful. He basically, right, he did Movember. The one Movember was just starting out. He did the first Movember and he grew the mustache and he was raising money every week and posting. He was one of the people that properly did it and posted every day and put up the link for people to donate. And he said, I've got something big, a big reveal. And he always did like funny pictures with the mustache each day of the month. And on the last day of the month, he had shaved a mustache into his pubes and literally up on Facebook just put up a picture of his langer. And he was like, happy 30th of November, please donate generously. Got booted from Facebook for like 3 weeks or whatever. The following year, he did the Movember again, and he was like, obviously I'm not going to be stupid enough to get myself in trouble again. This time he'd fully shaved and tattooed a moustache above his langer. And he got booted from Facebook again. But yeah, very strange one.
I wonder, did the
God bless the poor tattoo artist that had to tattoo the fucking mustache right there. Like,
I'd say they've tattooed worse.
Probably.
Kevin's been requested to do a lot of weird tattoos, even in the time he's been here. So, do we agree that Chandler will not be getting an instant rematch? Brian is asking.
100%.
Yeah, I think there's too many people clambering for a title shot at the moment that I just don't think it's going to happen. But having said that, he was just like 1 or 2 shots away from being the champ as well. So
a couple of missed shots.
I could see if you were in Chandler's camp, I could see the logic in campaigning for an immediate rematch. You should do that if you were his manager or his coach, but whether you're going to get it or not, probably not. I can't see how the winner of Poirier and McGregor doesn't like eclipse anybody else's call on it.
The fact that he was second choice for that fight anyway, Dustin got offered it first, and because Dustin turned it down, he got the fight. And there was a lot of hate on him getting it after 2.5 minutes of octagon time. What is he now? 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't see he'd have to win a couple of fights before he gets back there. But he still looked damn impressive.
Brian's answering his own question. He said Justin Gaethje would jump off a building.
Very possibly.
Ben, can't spell Chandler without Chael, my dude. That's right, Ben. I'm just reading a conversation between two guys here online. What a time to be alive. Quil Tabara, when's Paul fighting? So, when are you fighting, Paul?
Well, I'm going doing the season of Wim to Warrior again. And probably get the shit kicked out of me again at the end of it.
Go for 0-3. You can match my record then. Brian, sorry, how dare I? I meant Mr. Doucette. Charcoal, not Charlie. Okay, all right, sorry. So, yeah, that's a different type of tattoo. That's a kind of a tattoo that makes you happy, yeah. No, I have no idea what that last one says.
Yeah, there's some gibberish, and man, it was just one of those fights, man. Fucking awesome.
I'm glad you said it was gibberish because I'm fucking lost there. How do you think Johnny Walker pairs up with Santos from Larkin Gainey? That's an interesting question.
We kind of touched on it on Friday. I have my theory on it, that I think Walker's a threat for 3 minutes. If it goes past 3 minutes, he's in a world of fucking trouble. But for the first 3 to 4 minutes, that is going to be a wild, wild fight. Yeah. Anyone could go to sleep. Especially with Santos of late not looking the best. It's the right time probably to get him and to try and get a crack at him. But he's just got to try and tame himself a tiny bit, if that's even possible.
I mean, that's going to be as exciting as throwing a vibrator into a box of rats. That fight is going to be off the wall. Just to reiterate what I said on Friday night, though, that Santos is another one of those PTSD victims from Glover Teixeira. Yeah. So that might play into Johnny Walker's hands. But yeah, no, the two guys are going to absolutely try and murk each other for like 3 minutes, and then we'll see underwater fighting then from there on in, maybe.
I don't think Santos... I think Santos has better cardio than we think he has.
Yeah, because he's done the 5 rounds. Yeah, you were saying that, yeah.
And on one leg, and still looked good at the end of it.
Yeah.
Look.
But then again on that, like we're measuring Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos as being the guys who nearly beat John Jones. Is it just a case that John Jones wasn't as good as we thought he was at that point in his light heavyweight career?
Well, I 100% don't think he was up to it at that point. I think since the OSP fight.
Yeah.
And I know that's going back, and he had the head kick KO over DC and whatever, but from what we know, that was juiced up John Jones. I think he's had some very unimpressive performances, but it is still John Jones. Yeah. And you're still going 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Unimpressive by Jones'
Jones standards, yeah.
But,
that's what I meant.
Still impressive.
Let's jump on to the other unusual definition or unusual ending to a fight. Andre Muniz, who I absolutely butchered his name in the behind the top tape or behind the tape.
That's my fault as well. By the way, it's Muniz. Is the way they pronounce it in Brazil, as far as I know. But all the commentators saying Muniz, and I was like, they're just making a langer out of me now. Liam was watching this, kind of going, "What was Paul talking about?"
So he obviously was going into this fight making the outlandish claim that he was the better grappler between himself and Jacare, and then
tapped him out.
Well, didn't tap him out. He snapped him out.
Yeah.
Weird one. So we were talking about this, and like a little bit earlier, we alluded to who was it that which Brazilian were we talking about?
Magalhães.
Vinny Magalhães in the Craig Jones fight and the fight to win card. This is Jacare Souza's second time breaking his arm in competition, and then just basically shrugging it off. It's a flesh wound.
He didn't even grimace.
I know. It was weird.
It was disgusting. You hear the snap and his facial expression doesn't change at all. There's something the fuck wrong with him. Like, my facial expression changed multiple times after it.
I think he has one of those Charlie and Kevlar tattoos.
It's Charlie anyway. The only way he didn't feel that pain. Jesus Christ, like there's something. Who was the other Brazilian you were talking about? That
so Vinny Magalhães, and then you have Romulo Barral. Romulo Barral was famous. He was actually on the front page of most of the Brazilian sports magazines. He was in a fight. Was it? I can't remember who he was. It might have been. What's the other guy? André Galvão. I think it might have been André Galvão. They had some epic back and forth wars over the years. Romulo Barral is 9 times world champion. Like fucking. Like legit dude.
Yeah.
But this was back in the kind of days where himself and Andre Galvão were kind of coming up through. They were the new kids on the block type of thing.
Yeah.
And he was caught in a knee bar and his knee just shattered, but he was up on points, or so he thought. So he basically just allowed his knee to shatter or whatever. Was waving at the referee, no, I didn't tap. And then his opponent lets it go. He gets back to his feet and he's doing the whole kind of Danielson in Karate Kid hopping on one leg thing just to get to the end of the round, and then realize he was actually behind on points the whole time and loses anyway. But the mentality of this became like stuff of legend in Brazil, and he was all over the front page of magazines and everything.
But we go back to Santos versus Jones. He broke his tibia, or they're the other way around, tibia and fibula. Tore his meniscus and tore his MCL, all in that fight, in the first round of that fight.
Yeah.
And fought for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Kicking with it.
Yeah. There's something in the Brazilian water, I think.
It's fucking insane. Yeah, it was not nice to watch, and they kept playing the replay. And Daniel Cormier was taking off the headphones and looking away. I don't blame him. I don't like seeing... It's the Chris Weidman thing all over again. I don't like seeing those replays and hearing bones crack. But to not react to it at all, it's very strange. What do you do with Muniz now? Because he has to move up close to the top 15. He has to get a big name next.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to have the thing out in front of me there now. But Ben is asking, do you think Jacare out of division that Andre Muniz has the best jiu-jitsu at 185. Who was the other one? Was it Merkshart? Has the most
submissions in that division.
So maybe Merkshart and
that wouldn't
Muniz.
be a terrible shout, yeah. But Merkshart isn't ranked either, is he? I'm not sure now.
Yeah,
Someone can correct me on that, but I don't think to this point he's ranked. But yeah, that'd be a phenomenal matchup. I just think Muniz would run through him. I think this kid is going to be legit.
Yeah. Tommy Lanigan, Jacare has always been a beast. Such a pity he got robbed versus Gastelum and Romero. Should have fought for a belt.
Yeah, he got so close on a couple of occasions. He's going to be, look, he was Strikeforce champion coming over. There was so much hype. Way more so than Rockhold had when Rockhold signed. And Rockhold went on to hold the belt, which is a bit of a mystery. But
yeah, I was just going to hang on there.
I just see Brian there saying, I'm naming my kids Tibia and Fibia. Great names.
Ben said they said in the BJJ tournament that Jacare broke his arm, tucked into his gi, and finished the match and won. Like I said, he's a fucking robot. Yeah, you're right, and that's what we're saying. Like it's just in the water over in Brazil. I don't know what it is. It must be the acai berries.
The fuck are they now?
They're a staple at every jiu-jitsu competition. There's always a fella with an acai berries stall at a jiu-jitsu competition. Selling acai berries. It's kind of like I suppose they're like kind of raspberries and stuff like that, but they're a specific berry that's kind of.
Are they the ones that are grown way up in the mountain and they're?
I don't know.
Like high in all of the whatever they are.
Antioxidants,
nutrients, and all this carry on. Yeah.
The picograms.
You'd never think I studied this shit in college.
Chris Larkin or Aaron Larkin. I always call them out when they're bad, so I have to be fair here. I thought the commentary was excellent last night.
We will get to it. They were very good for the very most part, but we will get to it.
Sad thing, I thought Jacare was doing well until the finish. Yeah, he was. I mean, you could argue that it was a bit of a freak accident that his arm broke in that position. He didn't get arm barred per se. His arm got stuck in the other guy's hip and armpit area in a kind of a scramble, and then just snapped. You know.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is, I could see the argument for Jacare being unlucky. I don't like the argument that Muniz was unlucky, and that might sound stupid, but Muniz was trying to transition and use that arm to get a triangle when he was falling off the top of the back. So he was deliberately trapping the arm. He just didn't expect to get the pressure he had on it.
No, there was definitely an attempt at something, all right, 100%. So Brian's replying to Chris or to Aaron, it was much better, and I also noticed that if Rogan and DC started favouring one fighter, they would catch themselves and pop out a few positive things about the other. So somebody has obviously said it to them in the production team maybe, or they've been watching our podcast.
I mean, probably the former of the two, but you'd never know.
Well, we're gone over the 600 subs now.
Yeah,
so maybe the last two were DC and Rogan.
Yeah, if you're listening, lads, still a long way to go. Just fucking putting it out there. Still a long way to go. And we will get to it. We will fucking get to it.
All right, let me get in Tommy's comment here. I'm married to a Brazilian. There's definitely something not right with them. Determination isn't the word.
Well, we definitely know Tommy's wife isn't one of our subscribers anyway.
Tommy is in his office now with the door locked, hacking away on the keyboard, making that comment, and then deleting his search history afterwards.
Yeah, this is a safe space for Tommy.
So what I wanted to do actually before I was trying to do this there, I fucked it up. But look at this for a segue, right? Me just talking gibberish while I kind of frantically get stuff up on screen here. Hang on, what's that on screen for?
There's nothing.
Pornhub just nearly came up there.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is Tommy had his video out this week.
Yeah.
And of course my brain is not functioning at the moment.
Which, the Tony Ferguson video?
Yes, this one. So it was so if anybody if anybody hasn't seen this video, you can go to the Guts and Glory channel and go to Champions are made in the dark. That video, the story about Tony Ferguson and like his career, it's actually cool. And Tommy, to be fair to you, right? I know it sounds weird, right? But you've got the perfect voice for telling stories.
Yeah.
And like I was just listening away, and I was just being kind of lulled into the story. I nearly crashed the car listening to it, really being honest. So, you know, if I ever crash, I'm going to send you the bill for it. But no, fair play. It's a great video, great watch. And it's a series that Tommy produces on the channel for us that Paul is editing. And recommend anybody who hasn't seen it already, go check that out.
Throw on the first minute of it there so they can kind of get a taste of it.
When you're the smartest man in the room, you have to basically fire everybody. What ended up happening was nobody was testing me. Nobody was helping me grow anymore. So I basically had to get rid of everybody that were toxic to me. I saw my career kind of going towards a certain thing because obviously nobody was pushing me. Nobody was encouraging me. You can get treated like how the UFC treated me for the longest time, right? And I still haven't got a title fight, but I'm still showing up. You know how you get a 12-fight win streak? Consolation rounds. You have to earn that. Charles Oliveira is getting a title shot before me. Chandler's getting a title shot before me. What's the fairness in that?
There has been talk of a decline in Tony's recent performances, but we are here to remind you of the incredible journey he has had in the MMA world. I'm Tommy Lanigan, this is Guts and Glory MMA, and Tony Ferguson, champions are made in the dark. The key to understanding Tony Ferguson is his mindset. His unique approach to training, fighting, and even holding a conversation separate him from any other MMA fighter, past or present. He has always been determined to forge his own path, starting with his explosive success on The Ultimate Fighter Season 13. Weaponizing an unrelenting pace and creative attacks, he blew through opposition, winning the season and starting off a legendary career with the UFC.
Sorry, we won't go through the whole video. I was just talking to myself there for the last 2 minutes, boys. Well, we won't go through the whole video, but that was, if anybody does want to go and have a look at that, go check it out on the Guts and Glory MMA channel. Make sure you have subscribed. But it's kind of like, actually, Tommy, do you know who, a slight reminder of Blind Boy Boat Club, the Blind Boy podcast. He's got that kind of lilt to his voice, and it just kind of sucks you in, and and he's giving a shout out to your editing as well. So
yeah, very good. He put up one last week as well about Diego Sanchez. Go check that out. It's very good as well. Yeah. But yeah, we need to move on to the fight that I'm talking about, which is the Mike Grundy and Lando Venata fight, which was a very good fight. And before anyone jumps down my throat, I scored it for Lando Venata. Mm-hmm. But the commentary was appalling throughout. Okay. Completely one-sided towards Venata. There was moments where they talked about Grundy's grappling, but they were kind of, and obviously Venata was stuffing the takedowns, so they became more and more dismissive of Grundy's capabilities in the fight. Even though Grundy did land some strikes and got him down a couple of times, even if it was only momentarily, it was completely one-sided towards Venata. Now Venata won the fight, but I just thought it was, they literally only talked about Venata. Yeah. After halfway through the first round.
Yeah, no, they were definitely crushing on him. I mean, I heard this song in the background there as they were going.
Just because Shimeev isn't on the menu tonight.
I have to get the song in there somehow. Like
any excuse.
I loaded it up specifically.
I thought you were going to saving it for Andrea Lee.
No, you're okay. But yeah, no, Mike Grundy definitely, he was kind of like the Dvalishvili of the UK, but wasn't able to hold Venata down. Once he did score takedowns, he wasn't able to complete on most of them. Yeah, and then he wasn't able to hold him down once he got him down. Like that was just credit to Venata's slinky hips. He had hips like Shakira. Like he was in and out of there. He was blocking stuff, and like. A lot of that, okay, you could say it was down to his movement, but in order to be able to move in the right direction, you also have to know how to finish the takedowns yourself so that you can counteract them. So, it was impressive.
It was very impressive by Venata, but I think it was, again, I scored it for him, but I think it was a closer fight than if you'd have just listened to the commentary, you would have thought
Well, his face was definitely the more battered of the two at the end of the fight.
Yeah, you would have thought it was an absolute masterclass by Venata if you'd have just listened to the commentary.
Yeah. The 145.
But then again, one of the judges gave it 30-27 to Grundy. I mean, he was definitely faced the opposite way to the octagon during that fight. Very fucking strange.
Do you know Lando Venata versus Sugar Sean O'Malley would be a nice fight. I know they're not the weights; they're one weight class apart, but
stylistically, it'd be a
might
great
be a
fight,
super fight, or even Magomed Sharipov.
He's supposedly retiring.
Okay.
Yeah, there's talks that he's retiring. He hasn't fought in 2 years. He's been taken out of the rankings, and he doesn't know if he's going to fight again. But yeah, that would be a fun fight as well. The only thing with the Sean O'Malley, I like that fight if Sean was to move up to 45. The only concern would be Venata move down from 55. Would he be a little bit too big for him? I know it's the same weight class, but I just think 45 would be a bit of a struggle for Sean, even though he's long.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I had a brain fart there. Tommy Lanigan says Lando has had the weirdest career in the UFC. See, I actually, this dude came out of nowhere for me. I haven't seen any of his fights before this weekend. So, like, where the hell have I been?
Yeah, he burst onto the scene on short notice against Tony Ferguson when Tony Ferguson was in the middle of his 12-fight win streak. And he dropped Ferguson in the first round and nearly finished him in the first round. And he was just throwing exciting stuff. He matched Ferguson in that kind of wild style.
Yeah.
But after that, he had some fantastic wins. I think he had a spinning heel hook win. But then he had some shocking performances where he just got grapple fucked and just outpointed as well. So he's kind of been hit and miss. And but he's saying to move down to 45. This was his first fight at 45. That he's going to improve and bring the action. I hope he does, because he is an exciting fighter.
Jordan Wright murked. Got murked.
No, Jordan Wright won, yeah.
Sorry. It's the Jackson one I was thinking of. Dude, my brain just shut off there about 3 minutes ago. Do you know what? I feel like your man Burgos there.
That kilometre swim did you no favours?
No, definitely didn't.
Yeah,
did on the front crawl as well. So
Jordan Wright was
this
very,
is the dude
very
that went
impressive.
absolutely apeshit, and he just kind of murked your man with like relentless pressure after dropping him with the first shot. Is that the fight I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Okay, why am I thinking of your man Jackson from Bellator? The fella that scraped his the fella that scraped his eyeball out. Didn't he get stopped as well?
And when?
See, this is where my brain's gone now.
Oh, you have no idea what you're talking about
okay.
now.
Let's just ignore the last 2 minutes of the
Jamie
podcast.
Pickett might look like a bigger version of him. The cornrows.
Right.
Jamie Pickett kind of went for a takedown. Wright landed some elbows, vicious elbows. Wright looked very, very impressive. And a guy that's 12-1 in that 85 division as well, coming off Dana White Contender Series. Only for the fact that stylistically it's a horrible matchup. Him and Munoz would be the right one to make, considering they're both contenders trying to battle for that top 15 if neither of them gets a top 15 guy. But I think it's a horrible matchup for Wright. He has massive power and he can put people away, but we haven't seen much of the grappling yet.
Talking about grappling, we had a submission triangle armbar from Andrea Lee against Antonina Shevchenko. Antonina just got basically...
I mean, she doesn't belong there. Is that a bit harsh?
It's a bit harsh.
The bigger wins she's had in her career are girls that have been fed to her. And I think we talked about it on Friday.
Yeah, we thought this was going to be another feeding.
Yeah, and Andrea Lee came out and just showed that Antonina has no ground game.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. At least Valentina, in her last few fights, has showed, right, I'm as legit on the mat as I am on the feet, and the big worry. But even Antonina looked hesitant on the feet. She didn't want to get hit. She got hit early, and then every time she was throwing, she was like moving her head back. So there was no pop to her punches. I just wasn't impressed at all. I don't think she'll be long for that flyweight division.
Yep. Any other fights on the card that stood out to you?
Christos Giagos in the first fight was very impressive. Sean Seriano started well. It was kind of a comeback. He got the finish with a Darce choke in the very late in the second round. Impressive comeback considering he was under pressure. He looked like he could be finished himself.
Yeah, he was on the way out. Like.
And I think he earned the performance of the night as well, which was impressive.
Yeah, there was talks of 75k performance bonuses as opposed to 50.
Which was Tony's doing. Tony demanded that they up it just for 262. It's not a thing going forward.
Oh, really?
But Tony asked, will you up them to 75? I'm going to put on a performance. I mean, everyone else is thanking you. The guys who actually got them are thanking you.
Yeah. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. Ben Doucette, wheel kick win over John McAdaisy.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. That was one of those. That was like Edson Barboza, Terry Adam. He just put him to fucking sleep with the wheel kick.
Aaron Larkin trying to make sense of my stroke. Jason Jackson was on Contender Series. Is that what Liam's talking about? Liam hasn't a fucking clue what he was talking about, Aaron. I just had a mini kind of a hemorrhage over here and had a Burgos moment, and I've still not recovered. I actually feel my left eyeball a little bit warmer than my right right now. Did you think
Jason Jackson was fighting last night for some reason?
Something is after getting into my head. So we mentioned your man that scraped his eyeball off the cage on Friday night. So why did we mention that? It was
because he's been booked against Paul Daly. It was one of our
was it the news item
fights announced? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So I see. For me, then he was fighting this weekend, and then when I looked down through the card, that's the fella. No, it's not.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. So
it kind of makes sense.
It really doesn't. You're just being kind. You shat all over Antonina Shevchenko, but you're being kind to me. Yeah. I don't belong in this division. So we have a load of fights coming up this weekend. We are on Friday night again next weekend, or do we have a Bellator? We don't have a Bellator next week.
Do.
Oh, we do. So we're on Thursday night.
Cyborg is defending the featherweight belt on Friday night against Leslie Smith, which is her next time.
Oh, and Leah McCourt is against
Ginny Harding.
Yes.
Which is another very good fight. And Invicta is back for the first time.
Yes.
And remember, we talked about this, that Invicta was after moving away from Fight Pass, and I was saying hopefully they have a TV deal. They do have a TV deal. Nice. It's going to be on AXS TV. No, someone
Access.
Access.
There you go.
That could be it, yeah.
That's it.
That'll tell you what I know. But someone in America can, I suppose, bail me out here and tell me, is that on terrestrial TV or is it cable or whatever they call it? Yeah.
I have no idea what the difference is between cable and satellite over in the US. We just don't have it here. Like we don't have.
Yeah.
Well, we have. I suppose cable comes in through Virgin, doesn't it?
Virgin or Sky would be cable.
Sky is satellite, no?
Oh yeah, I don't know how they word it.
See, I don't get this distinction over there. I don't know what that is. If any of our American buddies are in, just explain what's the difference between cable and what's the other one they have. There's cable TV and there's
satellite.
There's something else. What network TV?
Network, yeah.
Is that the same thing? I don't know.
Haven't a clue. Just tell us, is Access or AXS free to view in America?
Do you call it DAZN itself?
I mean,
it's not the zone.
I did for the first couple of months. How the fuck was I supposed to know it was Access TV? But we touched on it about Invicta, and I'm actually delighted they're going out on their own, and I think it's going to be a good platform for women. I think the likes of Antonina Shevchenko, some girls that aren't quite cutting it in the UFC right now, know of a platform that they can go to, hone their skills, and they're getting good coverage now, not just on Fight Pass. They're not just a feeder promotion anymore. They can go out and, I suppose, when you're not a feeder promotion like the likes of Cage Warrior, LFA, as Invicta was, the belts kind of carry a little bit more esteem for me. Maybe I'm on my own there, but it's kind of an organization in and of itself. It's more than likely never going to compete with Bellator or PFL or the UFC, but there's a little bit more esteem or prestige to holding a belt in a promotion that's doing it for themselves as opposed to a puppy promotion to one of the big dogs that's just... The minute you get the belt, you're likely to be jumping up the queue.
So they may not compete with Bellator and PFL, but they've certainly stepped up from LFA.
I would think so, yeah. I think it's, although the LFA production is phenomenal and I really enjoy those cards, I think going out and doing it for yourself.
Yes. On a kind of like a pride type thing.
Yeah. I think holding the belt then and defending it, there's not this, right, I'm going to get to the belt and then I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going to the UFC.
Yeah.
The goal is to get the belt. You're the women's champion. That's it. If someone comes and tries to approach you at that point and pick you up, great. But the goal isn't to. The belt doesn't really carry any weight when you're just going, if I beat this girl, I get to the UFC. And I get a belt.
It's an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing.
Ben confirms access is cable.
And I haven't got a fucking clue what that means.
Yeah, we still don't know what cable is. Ben, can you please confirm what the hell is cable? What is it? Like, is there a cable that runs into every house in America and that's why it's called cable? Or can you get it via satellite, in which case there are no cables, or well, there's a cable coming from the satellite dish. Like, what the hell is going on? Why? Like, we've got this sorted out. Like, we've had an aerial on our houses here in Ireland for years, and you send the youngest child out to twist it when the reception gets a bit bad
after a storm,
and they're up there, and if they get hit by lightning and they survive, well, then you know you have a good son.
Mm-hmm.
Shabili is making his Bellator debut this week. He is violence personified. Quail Chidabar says,
"Nice."
I don't know who Shabili is.
Either.
I'm obviously a complete and utter casual here.
I wouldn't say casual. I've never heard of Shabili.
Ben Doucette says, did you see Brandon Vera lose his one title this weekend? I didn't.
Yeah.
I
didn't see it, but I saw that he did lose it. He kind of been unimpressive in his last two, so I'm not overly surprised.
He had such hype about him back like 10 years ago. He was going to be the first two-way champion in the UFC.
Yeah. But when he went over to one, then he just started cleaning house as well.
Yeah.
But I'm convinced there was a little bit of juicy juice going on there.
There was acai berries.
Yeah. 100%. All of he was injecting the acai berries.
Okay, cable is something you have to pay for if you want premium channels.
Okay, so cable's the one you pay for. So Access TV isn't free, basically, is what he's saying. Mm-hmm. That's a bit of a bummer, because I was hoping if it was something that was free to air in America, more people would tune into it.
Yeah. Bruce Bob Trotter is in the house. Sup? What's up, Bruce? Love the name.
Fantastic name. Please tell me that's your actual name as well, Bob Trotter.
Aaron says, yeah, that was mad. Can't see why Buller was ever released by the UFC.
Yeah. He looked damn impressive, but I think he popped at some point as well, didn't he? KB Buller? I could be completely wrong now.
I'm the casual over here, so I don't know.
But I think you said I caught him at one point.
Okay. Ben said, we have basic TV, which everyone gets for free. If you have an antenna, like you mentioned, you made the kids adjust. Okay. That's basic TV. All right, I'm getting it now. Basic TV is what we call free to air. We don't have free to air over here anymore.
It's Serview now.
Serview, but we have to pay a TV license.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a TV license, Ben? Probably not. I doubt you have a TV license in the States.
It's probably just in their domestic home taxes, like most countries.
Brian says nothing is free, boys.
Yeah, for fucking sure. We get taxed for everything 4 times over here.
So, okay, Ben is elaborating here. Basic TV is like 5 channels. Cable gives you like 800 to 1,000 channels if you pay.
Yeah, so it's the difference here of our local Serview against taking someone like Sky.
Sky, okay, fair enough. And is there another layer, or is that it? What's network TV then? Right. Bruce Bob Trotter says, Benil, worst post-fight interview ever. Probably never read Marx in his life. Do something useful with your post-fight. Nobody needs to hear about your damn car problems. Dumb. Did you get that?
It was a bit strange. He just kind of went on a rant, and then didn't he? Was that Dariush as well who called out? Who made a call out to someone fucking strange as well?
No, that was the guy at the very start of the card. He called out Cerrone for his retirement fight. Is that
no? I'm talking about someone who called out a celebrity of some description. I don't know. It was. I think it was Dario. She had a very strange post-fight or in-cage interview where he started talking about the Marxists first, and he said, "I feel your pain." Well, actually, I don't feel your pain, but I feel your pain. And
who he was talking about? Who? Marx?
The Marxists. I don't know. It was all very fucking strange.
As in the political ideological Marxism.
I assumed in my head that it was some nod to what was going on in Israel, but I don't know. I have no idea. Like Iran isn't Well, it is actually a long.
Oh, hang on. Here we go. Benil versus reincarnated Karl Marx or Frederick Engels next, I guess. I think Marx can take him. Did a number on Russia. He's no joke, Marx. It's definitely Karl Marx anyway.
Yeah, it was just fuck. The whole thing was strange.
My stroke is kind of developing here anyway.
Can you smell toast?
I can smell fucking it's something anyway. No, it's just free. Network TV is just free, I suppose. Anyway, Queel to the bar. Dariush called out Elon Musk.
That's it. Yeah. Because he wants a car or something. It was his whole post fight. Yeah, I agree. Was absolutely shit. It was a la Julian Marquez. It was that fucking awkward. Yeah.
Aaron doesn't agree. He says Julian Marquez had the worst post-fight interview of all time, calling out Miley Cyrus. Is it? Was he calling out Miley Cyrus, or he was asking for a follow of Miley?
He asked for a date from Miley Cyrus or something along those lines. And let's be fair, that worked for him. As stupid and as awkward as that was, Miley Cyrus retweeted him and he gained a load of new fans from it. So I don't think Elon Musk is going fucking tweeting at Benil Dariush. Just not going happening. Yeah, it was just fucking odd.
Bruce saying Musk has stock in UFC Endeavour now, so it's also not a good look in that regard.
Yeah.
Calling out your boss. People have been calling out Dana White for years, though. Hasn't done him any harm.
He was basically saying that he was supposed to get his car 3 months ago and he still hasn't got it. And he's a kid on the way or something.
Okay.
And he was like, "Where's my fucking car at?" It was been 3 months. Yeah.
Okay.
It was just, yeah.
So let's putting a lid on this American TV thing. Network TV is the big channels, ABC, CBS, NBC, HBO, that own their own TV shows. So is HBO free on network TV? Is that one of the basic channels? HBO? Hardly. HBO must be a cable channel. They put out some cracking stuff.
I have them all free here on my phone.
Listen, we're kind of gone off the topic of MMA altogether here. I think I'm going to watch a YouTube video on the setup of American TV because I'm still not really getting it 100%. Like we've got Sky over here, and then you've got the dodgy box.
But
have you got any dodgy boxes in the States?
I don't think you fully understand what's going on over here either.
What about the channel that Combate Global is on? So, what channel is that?
Yeah,
that's probably Access, is it?
No, they got shit. I only saw that yesterday. I was reading about it. Actually, I was talking to the president of Combate Global. I might get him on for an interview if he's up for it. But,
Paul's near name dropping here now.
Really cool guy though. He was.
I'm sure he is. If he's a TV executive, like.
No, not the TV executive. The president of Combate Global.
Oh, the MMA promotion. Yeah. Oh, okay, all right. Sorry.
He was talking about the channel and he gave out to us because we don't cover Combate.
Oh, and really?
He was like, we'll get to it. You know, we're getting more and more promotions in, but yeah.
He said Univision or something because Campbell McLaren is banging on it every week.
That's him, Campbell McLaren, yeah.
Okay, right.
Pretty cool guy, though.
Come on, Paul, spill.
Spill what?
I think about your name dropping stuff.
Oh, yeah, Campbell McLaren. That's him.
Bendu said, "Oh yeah, we have dodgy boxes, but those you usually have to buy behind a bowling alley somewhere so no one sees you." Yeah. We get them outside Lidl, or in Lidl sometimes. They actually said they're selling a dodgy box in Lidl at the moment. It's 20 quid for.
So in Ireland, it's not illegal to own one or to stream at all, but it's illegal to set up the streams.
Okay.
So it'd be illegal for me to post onto one of my channels. I'm streaming something.
Yeah.
But I can watch a stream. That's not illegal.
So Dana White can't be knocking down your door, is what you're saying?
Nope. I think that's the same as America as well.
Okay. Have we covered everything?
I think so. I think we've covered a lot more.
Everything and more. It's just the comment section was so interesting there towards the end.
And you were having a mid-stroke.
Yeah, I was having a midlife crisis. Hang on, another one. Is 20 quid like $20?
Yeah, same difference. Well,
pretty much the same thing.
There's a difference in the currency, but yeah.
I think the exchange rate is like 1.2 quids to $1, maybe.
No, it's less than that. No, I think it's only $1.08.
You could check it up on
Or
on
€1
your
on it.
Revolut app, it's QID is the short code for quid. Isn't it?
No, it's not, is it?
It is, yeah.
I have no fucking clue. I thought you were taking
come
a
on,
piss there.
play along with me, Paul, for fuck's sake.
Shit. QID.
We're trying to pull the wool over the Yanks' eyes here. Come on.
It's on the New York Stock Exchange. Check it out.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's just slang for dollars over here, Ben. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up at that because I can feel myself going off tangent completely here. So what have we got? We've got 1.41. We've got a round table next week, which we normally don't do only for a special occasion. So Ben looked it up and all. It's not on the stock exchange, and it's 1.41 is the exchange rate.
Is it 1.41?
Yes.
Holy shit! Need to buy some dollars. Yeah, we do them kind of mostly post pay-per-views, big pay-per-views, stuff like that. So we're going to be doing that on Tuesday. We'll have a small segment out tomorrow. We'll have our round table on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we will either have a top 10, a story, or a behind the tape, one or the other. And then we'll have another one on Friday before.
Cool.
And live shows will on Thursday.
Yeah. So one more comment in there from have you tried DMT? ? Are you guys Chael Sonnen fans?
Obviously.
Who isn't?
Yeah.
But Brian there, who's commenting as Into Thin Air, is the biggest Chael Sonnen fan. So you might go follow him. He has a great YouTube channel on news reports and extreme weather and stuff. So give him a follow as well while you're at it. And welcome to the comment section. So guys, that's been our show. It's been a bit weird towards the end.
Yeah.
A bit shit in the middle.
We lost the run of it a little bit, but
it was entertaining.
We're well used to talking shit for an hour anyway. That's obvious at this point.
Yeah. Shit talking is our game. But guys, take care of yourselves. This has been the Guts and Glory MMA podcast. See you later.
Cheers.
I want to fight with Chuck. Chuck.
I think he just blew his wad there.
Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck.
Where you at, McNuggets, you fucking piece of shit? I'm cool with all the gods. Gods recognize gods.
This is #1 bullshit.
You can't stop the Superior Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
I don't have much left to say other than you have seen nothing yet.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I'm the man of the hour, Joe. Too sweet to be sour. What you